Canadian Liberals are having a very hard time understanding this, but celebrating a man's death immediately after assassination and calling for other Conservatives to be assassinated does not fall under free speech. I see a lot of Liberals now crying because, thank God, a bunch of them, not enough, are getting in trouble, some losing their jobs, some getting roasted online after celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And it's so hilarious after the past decade of Liberals pushing this cancel culture for them to finally get a taste of their own medicine. Literally after celebrating an assassination, which you never see Conservatives doing, but you see Liberals doing all the time. They're the empathetic, loving ones, yet they cheer when a man is shot in the neck for voicing his opinion. There's a big difference between Don Cherry, who was fired, which was cheered on by Liberals, a Canadian legend. Don Cherry lost his job because he said that he felt that immigrants should wear a poppy. That's what he said. That's what Don Cherry said. He said he was upset at the fact that so many immigrants in Canada he didn't see even wearing a poppy. And for that, he was labeled a racist, a xenophobe by the Liberal media, and a Canadian legend forced to lose his job. Justin Trudeau invoked the Emergencies Act during the Freedom Convoy, which was later ruled unconstitutional. He set Tamara Lynch and Chris, I'm blanking on his last name, through hell and back for setting up the Freedom Convoy. They sentenced to 7-8 years in prison for voicing their opinion as Canadians. Canadian Liberals have consistently gone after our Charter of Rights and Freedoms, Canadians' right to free speech, and now they want to cry when they are literally celebrating an assassination to Hani Fontaine immediately in the aftermath of an assassination. One of the senior-most officials in Manitoba is gloating about it seconds after a man is shot in the neck in front of his children, stating that he's a misogynist, a transphobe, and he deserves zero empathy. And now that is disgusting. Hani Fontaine is not even a human being. That is truly disgusting behavior. David Cochrane on the CBC immediately coming out and talking about how the most divisive things that Charlie Kirk said. Can you imagine if Justin Trudeau was assassinated and immediately Conservatives said, well, Justin Trudeau said everybody who didn't get vaccinated was a racist and a misogynist. What about the SNC-Lavalin scandal? What about the We Charity scandal? What about the tens of millions of dollars he stole from Canadians? How does net worth go from $1 million to $300 million? Can you imagine that? But Conservatives would not do that. Liberals do that. Ruth Chancellor from the University of Toronto says that death is too good for fascists and she's only put on leave. There's a difference between free speech and celebrating an assassination and calls to violence. And I don't want to hear another peep out of Canadian Liberals about free speech. They have been going after Conservatives for voicing their opinions, labeling them as transphobes, for stating that men cannot become women and women cannot become men. It's become a fun house in this country of insanity. They continue to try and shut Conservatives down through Bill C-63, which would see the creation of a so-called Digital Safety Commission with 10 unelected bureaucrats that could put you under house arrest with an ankle bracelet, not even for anything you've said, but if another citizen reports they believe you're likely to say something hateful in the future. It's so disgusting, the path that our country is going down. Bill C-63, the so-called Online Harms Act, is more extreme than the Online Safety Act, which was passed in the UK, where they're on pace to arrest 12,000 Brits over the course of the year for Facebook posts. This is authoritarianism in our face. So Canadian Conservatives, we need to go after these guys as hard as we can. Those who are out here celebrating violence, this is what winds up causing more violence, is the celebration of assassinations, which we are seeing on the Canadian left right now. And save me the goddamn tears. Look at these people cheering on when Don Cherry lost his job. Totally trying to drag his reputation, a Canadian legend, through the mud. Truly disgusting. A man in his 70s who's a Canadian patriot and a legend, trying to shut Canadians down who who wanted to go after Trudeau for dividing the country like nobody's ever done during COVID, when he labeled anybody who was skeptical about the vaccines. And now look at all the information that's coming out on all the risks that were associated with the vaccines. And they lied to us when Trudeau said, if you didn't want to get vaccinated, you were a racist, you were a misogynist. Don't give these guys a goddamn inch. They would laugh to see you they will dance on your grave. The Liberal Canadians will absolutely dance on your grave without having 1 second of pity for you. So we need to go after these people who now they want to cry free speech. It's an absolute goddamn joke. Go after. If you see people who celebrated this assassination, send some information to their employer, because they would do 10 times worse to you every effing time. I can guarantee you that. Conservative Canadians have had enough of being told that, because it's so clear that 8 million immigrants into the year in a decade has ruined our economy. 7.1% unemployment rate, 22% unemployment rate among youth. And we're sick of being called racist and xenophobes for pointing out what's economically obvious by these virtue signaling liberals who weaponize words like empathy when they're the least empathetic people in the world. It's disgusting. Canadian Conservatives need to wake up and go after these liberal Canadians, because if when they come after you, they will be dancing on your grave. That much I can guarantee you with 100% certainty. If you're interested in more content, please like, share, subscribe, join, become a member. Make sure you're subbed to the channel. We need more strong Canadian Conservative voices out there. If you're watching on TikTok, make sure you're following on YouTube, youtube.com/@FightForCanada2025, because I'm over 17K followers and the Canadian government is not a big fan of distance. But for once, when the shoe's on the other foot, let's go after these scumbags.